It's about that time.
Pre-record on my count. 7, 6, 5, 4. Here we go. Roger.
And on Insights, two eyes in the middle. INSiiGHTS, where we always talk the talk.
Hello, everybody. Everybody, hello.
Hey, Coach. Hey, Rick.
What's up? Welcome back, folks. It seems like it's been a while. What's going on? Hey, we're back.
Oh. Now that's for sure. For sure, we back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we changed the format a little bit in the new season. We're gonna see if our hostess is ready to be the hostess with the mostest and always doing the boasting. Let them see if they're ready to roll and see what's up. Welcome, Miss B.
Hello. How's everyone?
All right, Miss B. One time.
Oh.
So, Coach.
Thank you. Come on, Miss B.
Hey, Coach. Tell everyone about what's been going on since with Insights since your last show.
Oh man, we've been busy. Insights Roku has kicked in. Beta testing for about weeks. Still got some things trying to iron out, but we can roll with that. We've been Claflin, got a special agreement with Claflin and covered them in the golf tournament. Former assistant athletic director at Bethune-Cookman, Tony O'Neill. We've done some creative skits that will be exclusive to our Roku channel, and just fine tuning a little bit, trying to provide content on the Roku channel. But in the meantime, growing some of the relationships, and went to the SWAC Football Media Day, which was an outstanding event. Picked up a show we just did today on MEAC News and did something on the MEAC. So, doing something with the Black colleges and HBCU sports and just trying to branch out a little bit more. Got our schedule. We're going to kick off the high school coverage of games in a little bit, like 2 weeks. We're going to start doing the high school games. We got state champion Brooks County fresh on the docket against arch rival Thomasville High over there with Coach Maurice Freeman, FAMU grad. So we got a lot that we've been doing in that time.
You know how to say, Insights is everywhere.
We try to be.
That is great. And Coach, you went to the SWAC Football Media Day. Are you going to go to this? Is Insights going to be at the basketball one as well?
That's our goal. The press, the Football Media Day with the SWAC was an outstanding event for us. One of the things, Rick, that I was most proud of was the student athletes that interviewed. I mean, they really spoke well. They represented their institutions well. There was a young man at one of the schools in Mississippi. I won't say which, but we asked him about an interview, and he said, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely, I'll do the interview." He said, "But let me listen to what they saying at Jackson State, because they so arrogant. I want to hear what they saying."
Wow. Okay.
They starting already. I love it.
Well, it doesn't help when their head coach tells them, "Look, when you play these games," pointing out in the crowd, you got to obliterate people. You got to obliterate them. If you want to play at the next level, you got to obliterate them. So I'm like, wow.
Prime time, baby.
Yeah, prime time.
SWAC football gonna be very interesting.
At least interesting.
Okay.
Come on, Miss B.
I'm sorry. Well, we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Yeah, okay.
INSiiGHTS now has its own Roku channel. INSiiGHTS itself is a dream maker, providing a platform for content creators. Go with INSiiGHTS Roku channel into 91 million homes. We are strengthening our programs that will continue to educate, entertain, and enlighten our viewers. We will still feature youth sports, MicknRick, INSiiGHTS Magazine, Remember the Legends, and much more. Stay tuned for our creative content. We will continue to appreciate your support.
And we're back. Rick, tell me what you're thinking about Black college, the future of HBCU football. It's hot and heavy. What's your thought?
Coach, I mean, I've been going back and forth with this, thinking with the MEAC only with, I think, 6 football teams, should they merge with the SWAC, really, and have just one big super conference? And then I listened to the MEAC commissioner, Sonia Steele,
Right.
and she just flat out said, ain't gonna happen, Captain. And then I started thinking, but why? I mean, you only have 6 football teams. I mean, what can that do for you? But when you have 52 years in the game, which the MEAC has, I understand they've built up their own tradition. And yeah, they're looking to expanding, probably taken from the CIAA. But still, I thought they were teetering last year. And so I was wondering, would this be a great, them a possible merger, which I think one of the SWAC coaches during the SWAC media event spoke about possible expansion, but I'm still on the fence, Coach. I understand why the MEAC wants to be separate. I do. But would it be better? And would would everything be stronger? Would it be better for the athletes? Would it be better for let's call a spade a spade. Football runs this. Could they get better TV deals? Could they get more scouts? And so there's a lot to really unpack there. I don't think they should do it right away, but I do think they should look into it at least. What do you think?
Well, if they don't do it right away, a few years from now might be too late. Now, one time on this show, we talked about the fact of creating a super conference.
Yeah.
And having talked, one of the questions that we talked to the commissioner about with the SWAC was that earlier he and I had a conversation, Dr. McClellan and we talked about creating a super conference. And at the time, he was talking about bringing in FAMU, which he got, Bethune-Cookman, which he got, and talking about bringing Tennessee State. Now, if you do a super HBCU conference, you have to have Hampton and North Carolina A&T. Now, that would be creating a super conference. Now we also talked about the fact that with the NCAA, barely hanging on, just the NCAA barely hanging on itself, that somebody needed to be in position to try to be in a position to pick up some of the teams to try under our own legislation, create our own academic platform for our schools and have our own schools under that same banner. Much like the old days, we were all under NAIA. But I think that I think that a lot of the conferences are in trouble. So it's not really indicative of just the HBCU institutions, but I think that we need to take some steps and be forward thinking and try to solidify the schools that we have.
Okay. Well, do you think that, Rick? Do you think that NIL is having an effect on the HBCUs?
Somewhat. I mean, listen, it's out there for everyone. Everyone can take advantage of it. If you look at Deion's son, Coach Prime's son, excuse me, he's getting paid. Now, is that a byproduct of his father? Yeah, perhaps, but still, it can be done. Some FAMU players were getting paid, not at that level, but so it has an effect. But what the NIL has done, Ms. B, is that it's opened up a whole can of worms. Those worms aren't going back in, and not just for HBCUs, for all the conferences. And you saw the SEC and their coaches fussing at each other about buying players and all of that stuff that's been going on for years. So I just think it's still
Legal.
unregulated and it's still going to be crazy.
It's legalized now.
Oh yeah, it's legalized now, and everybody can do it. And guess what? It's like the Wild Wild West, baby. You better strap up.
Well, let me ask. You spoke of Deion's son, and something I didn't think about till you said it. If Deion was doing things for his son, is that an NCAA violation? What would it have been? Now,
that's a sticky situation though, because it's family.
Rick, the NCAA office called me in saying that I was illegally working my daughter out.
That's crazy.
She was a senior at FAMU High. Her shot was off. I went down in the gym and worked her out down in the Lawson Center to help her with her shot. The NCAA was on campus investigating several issues. They called me in to ask me about that because somebody told them that I was conducting an illegal workout with my daughter for the Florida A&M coach to sit up in her window and watch her and recruit. And that the booster president was down in the gym working a potential student athlete out. I said, yes, it was my child, my daughter. They went to asking questions like, does she come on campus? I said, she goes to FAMU High. She takes 3 college classes. Well, where does she go when she goes on campus? I said, she was born on campus. She knows everybody. I don't know where she goes. Does she visit any of the coaches' offices? She probably does. She's known them all since she was 7th, 8th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. So, yes, these are long-time established relationships. Mm-hmm. They were serious. Mm-hmm. I could not believe it. So I was just wondering, I brought that up, not when you said about Deion and his son, and I said, you know what? They're so particular about things and that's how the NCAA has gotten to where it is now in terms of losing control over the college programs that they have controlled for so long. Mm-hmm. And I really think that a lot of this is just really kind of crazy. I mean, some of it just really doesn't make sense to me, in terms of the rules that they try to apply, who they apply these rules on, the money that they're afraid they're going to lose. As we all know, it's football. They actually gave football the individual schools' ability to make their own money off football because they were afraid they were going to lose them all together. And what funds the NCAA, we all know, is the basketball tournament, where they were one canceled tournament away from bellying up and not having a tournament and not having the NCAA after COVID. So they are really fighting about that, to be able to try to maintain that ability to do that. And see, people got that feeling, that Jackson State saved HBCU football. Yeah, we had some real good football programs before then. We had Coach Merritt, Jake Gaither. We had some outstanding programs. Grambling, Tennessee State, FAMU, Southern. We had some excellent programs and people that traveled a long distance to see them play. And that's why there were a lot of people that were happy to see South Carolina State give Jackson State a comeuppance in the Celebration Bowl. And they did ask about that at the press, at the media day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And Dion pretty much said, we don't care nothing about that. So there was a lot of people that were happy to see that. And the other part was, the MEAC had, people had the impression that FAMU and Cookman left, the MEAC was dead. And it was no other purpose for the MEAC to even exist. That all the schools that meant anything were in the SWAC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for the knowledge. Well,
that's what he does as coach.
Go ahead, Rick.
I said that's what he does as coach. He gives us the knowledge. That's what he's supposed to do. Analyze it, coach. Analyze it.
I'm trying to, brother. I'm trying to do that.
Yeah.
Help me out now. Oh, at the press media guy. Met some representatives from Pepsi.
Yay.
From Pepsi.
How do I make this?
Had some very good dialogue about our exchange between Pepsi and Coca-Cola and how we get into our Pepsi Coke tirades in the game. I mean, on the show sometimes. They said they have to watch it just to see that part. I said,
okay. Yes, always a Pepsi. Rick, you all right?
Hey, yeah, I just had to clear my throat a little bit, and I didn't want people to hear me coughing and all. So, yeah, good dialogue. Good. I hope the Pepsi people will watch us. Yeah, please sponsor INSiiGHTS. MicknRick, come on. I'll hold up a Pepsi can.
Hey,
I hear you.
I will. Hey, product placement, baby.
Product placement.
I'm with you. Whatever it takes. Now, if you ask me to sip the water, to drink the Kool-Aid, we may have to discuss that. I don't think that's in the contract. But product placement. But until that magical, mystical day,
Jackson State's thing is they really want to be in a position to try to go to the playoffs.
Okay.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
The playoffs is a little bit more than a notion. Ask FAMU. It's a little bit more of a notion. We needed to go. It was a part of the process. We needed to experience. But, we have to play a little better, and we have to be ready for the adverse conditions and home cooking that goes on. The name calling, the way the fans are treated.
All of that.
It's a little special going to some of those contests.
Indeed. And the thing too is, I think it can help though. It can help with recruiting, and you have to recruit better, and to get on that level. Now I know a lot of the top 1AA FCS schools have use a lot of transfers. Well, heck, the transfer portal is there, baby. You got to reach in there to compete, and it's going to take more than just one season. And that's why I'm interested to see how Jackson State and FAMU perform this year, because they did
tell
great.
Me, Rick, do you think the transfer portal helps us?
I think it has always helped us. I think it's always helped FAM, especially in the Billy Joe days. And we talked about this before. how Billy Joe was the first to really take transfers and put them in because he was thinking forward. I do think it helps. I do think the transfer. Now the portal itself, I don't know how it if it helps more so than it has in the past, but it's there. So why not go for it?
Well, why do you think the transfer portal even exists?
Why do I think it exists? I think the original thinking was to give the players um, an opportunity if they were in adverse situations. Now I think that has changed totally now, or maybe their coach went to another school or got fired or something. And I think the transfer portal was originally enabled to help those students who said, okay, well, you won't have to sit out a year to transfer if you transfer um, FBS to FBS per se. Now I said Wild Wild West before, but it's wild. I mean, because it's just open and it seems like anybody and everyone wants to do it. And it's turned into, oh, I'm only playing 3 minutes basketball. I'm only getting 3 minutes a game, coach. Okay, check it. I'm going to wherever. I
And
think
see,
I think it's
I
taking
see it a little
advantage of.
different, Rick. I think that's the political front that the major institutions use. How often do you hear of a kid transferring that's playing or can play? Most of the time, they're kids who aren't getting any run. So for them to transfer and go somewhere else allows them to replace them, restock them, and recruit somebody else in their place. A lot of time, these coaches are encouraging them to hit the transfer portal and help them find somewhere to go because they haven't played and they haven't done anything. And if they haven't played enough. They haven't lived up to their expectations or whatever. But they look for them to leave. And I have a problem with us celebrating the kids that we're getting from some of those Power 5 schools that didn't play. And now they're coming to us. You couldn't play at Ohio State, but come on down here with us. And a lot of them, not always, these kids don't always go to the cream doesn't always rise to the top. Once they come in here, they find out that the guys that we have in here really can play. You know, they have to get it done, regardless. And a lot of the kids that we've had in the system 2-3 years, they've grown, they've matured physically and mentally. And because they might have started out of high school, they're not necessarily the star at 19 and 20. So I think what happened was they tried to find a way to appease the transfers and get them out of the system so that the schools can recruit over them, because the kids are recruiting the colleges are recruiting all the time. And as a former coach, we used to tell them, understand that when you go to state institution, they're recruiting somebody to play your spot right now today. They're recruiting somebody over you right this minute. They are constantly recruiting to get better. So, but we don't have any spots. But if we can transfer, we can get them in this transfer portal and see if they go in that transfer portal and don't get picked up, they lost.
Okay.
It's a gamble. It is a gamble. And there's more players than spots. Always has been.
And that's why I'm saying it's a two-edged sword. It's a two-edged sword to me in terms of how I perceive that. With the transfers and the kids that come in, they're coming to an institution. And don't get me wrong, I've recruited some. So if it doesn't work out, let me know. We've had some young ladies that, we had a transfer. She had a baby, came back because it was closer to home. And she dominated for us, but she started where she was at. She wasn't sitting the bench there. She started there and she started for us. Now, but most of the time, they're players who aren't happy with the playing time that they get. But again, that's my perception.
Okay.
Ms. B.
Okay. Well, thank you, Coach. Well, INSiiGHTS magazine is promoting the upcoming release of Title IX, 50 years of Title IX, with a FAMU and Florida A&M University administrators.
FAMU and Florida State administrator?
Yes.
And now, it's about that time.
Pre-record on my count. 7, 6, 5, 4. Here we go. Roger.
With the coach, Mickey Clayton on INSiiGHTS. 2 eyes in the middle. INSiiGHTS, where we always talk the talk.
Yes, sir. One of the shows we got coming up.
That's going to be real. I'm looking forward to checking that out, Coach.
Okay, thank you very much.
50 years.
Right.
50 years.
Exactly. And we were supposed to do a Recruiting the Legend segment.
With this being Florida Classic Week, the regular season ending football contest between the Florida A&M Rattlers and the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, doing a segment on this legend was a no-brainer. It is a guy who shined on and off the playing field, and a man Coach knows very well. This week, we pay tribute to former Bethune-Cookman Wildcats football and women's basketball coach, Alvin Shine Wyatt. And look, you look on the sidelines of most college football or basketball games, and the coaches are wearing either polo shirts or khaki pants or shirt and tie. At times, the head coach could get lost amongst all the team. Yet if you ever saw Bethune-Cookman during the late 70s through the early 2000s, you could always tell where Alvin Wyatt was. Known for his stylish clothing, including shades, Wyatt often looked like he was ready to go to the hottest party rather than coach his alma mater. But don't let the threads fool you. Wyatt was not only a hell of a coach, but he was a solid player as well. Born in Jacksonville, Florida in 1947, Wyatt was a 6th-round pick of the Oakland Raiders as a defensive back. He played 2 seasons in Buffalo and 1 with the then Houston Oilers. He returned to Cookman in 1978 to take over the women's program and took over as men's head football coach in 1997. During his time reigning the sidelines, Wyatt led the women's team to the 1984 MEAC title and holds the all-time women's mark in victories at the school with 245 wins. And you know you're a bad man when you have an entire offense named after you. In football, backed by the Wyatt Bone, an option-based offense, Wyatt led Cookman to a MEAC title in 2002 and back-to-back playoff berths in 2002 and 2003. And yes, Wyatt is also the all-time leader in football victories as well at the school. As I said, he has substance to go with this flair and was inducted into the MEAC Hall of Fame in 2020. Whether styling on the sidelines or dancing after beating his arch rival FAMU in the Classic, Wyatt had a style that is unmatched by anyone and a competitive spirit to match. This is what makes him a legend.
I love that one. Yes, 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 Miss B.
Oh God, what did you learn? What did you learn about Alvin Wyatt that surprised you during this piece?
Well, I did not know that he played in the NFL. I didn't know, and so that really shocked me, and just amazing. And hearing Coach talking about him after that piece, and just the knowledge that he has. Even though he was a rival to A&M, much props, much respect, because, like I said, he was more than just style. I mean, he was damn good in what he did, and he used to do the crying towels before the football season. Always cracked me up. Oh, we just saw this, all this. And then they'll get in the locker room and say, all right, we gonna beat their asses. We gonna beat He was so funny. He was a great guy. And talking to him one-on-one, he didn't care that I went to fam. You know, he just wanted some press for Cookman. And so he was always good to me. And I was happy that remembering the legends turned out pretty good.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. Got his master's at FAMU, and he doesn't like to say that, but he got his master's at FAMU.
Don't tell
And
no
I
one
love
that.
to tell a story when he told me, he said, man, if I see somebody in them state-sponsored FAMU license plates, if I have to drive 130 miles an hour down I-4, I'm going to catch them because there ain't nobody at FAMU going to beat me or nothing.
Hey, Coach, it's funny that you say that because I'm riding on the highway and I'm doing pretty good. And next thing you know, something went zoom, and I kept take a glance, cook me plates, and they kind of just glared at me when they went by. I was like, "What the heck? What?" That's when I had my FAMU tags on the back, and they were just yow. I was like, "Wow, it's like that." Y'all win a couple games in a row. Y'all think y'all own Florida.
Well, pretty much that's how they are.
But it's still about them, baby.
That's how they do. And Coach Wyatt, you know, when he was at Cookman, you know, the thing is that most people didn't know that he and I really had a really good relationship. And when we were in the MEAC, the schools would come down and they would have the Florida run. They'd play us on Saturday, him on Saturday, and then we would switch. And on Sunday, we'd be on the phone for hours telling the other one what the teams did that we played, you know. And we would always give a scouting report because we wanted each other to win when we didn't play each other.
Right.
You know, we wanted to dominate the state of Florida. You know, and that's what Lynn Dunn, who's now coaching in the WNBA, she was at Miami, which we beat them a couple times when she was down there. And I was just telling them in the Title IX component we had, they were trying to hire me to work for her at the University of Miami. And I said, Lynn, you said when we come up, we were going to talk about it. Mickey, you're not going to leave FAMU. You bleed orange and green. But you could wear orange and green at Miami. If you and I got together, we would dominate the Southeast. Couldn't nobody beat us. Wow. You know, and we had a pretty good run during that time with our women's team. And speaking of that, one of my former players on my first team that won for us was Pam Riley. She's going into the Hall of Fame in August. Congratulations, Pam. Silk. And she was one of the cussingest girls we ever had. You know, we had this thing, if you cuss, you had to run 5 laps, right? Mm-hmm. So Pam Riley come in the gym and she running. I said, Pam, what are you doing? I'm giving you 20 laps. I said, why are you giving me 20 laps? I'm giving them 4 times I'm gonna cuss in the hole.
That's my girl. That's how you do it. What can you say, Coach? You just said just like.
She laughed because one time I brought her out the game, and the rule is you have to come sit next to me when you come out the game. See, that stops all them tantrums and carrying on because you ain't gonna act a fool sitting next to me. So she was really acting up, right? So when I took her out, she's gonna go all the way around the gym floor and come up by the foyer door by the water cooler. You know, they always think they're slick, right? She said she looked down and she got to the water cooler and saw my shoes. She was like, oh, shit. You know I got her. I got her and took her all the way down there where she was supposed to be sitting next to me. But it's so funny. My daughter did the same thing one time, and I had to go get her the same way. Same rule. Come sit next to me. You'll be throwing no tantrum. She said, "Oh yeah, I don't know why Maya would try you. I tried you, it didn't work." I said,
You can learn the easy way or the hard way.
Okay. I like the fact that she came in running. I really like that. Thank you, Coach, for sharing your Pam Riley story.
Miss B?
What we got, Miss B?
Right.
Well, right now, the Deshaun Watson.
Oh, super fan coach. What's up with your boy?
You find humor in that, huh?
No, I find humor. What I find humor in, number one, is that he only got 6 games from the jump until the NFL today said, "Whoa, not so fast," and they're appealing that. So this thing is still far from over.
Well, how do you feel about that?
Okay.
We are not going to agree. I already know.
Well, no. Stay with me here. All right. So he missed all of last season. And then the judge said, we're going to give you 6 more. See, I count last season as punishment because he could have played. He wasn't hurt. But they sat him on the bench until they traded him, right? So that's 17 games last year, 6, that's 23 games. That should be enough if you think about it. Now, people are just going to, while people are upset when I first saw the 6 games, and I told you, I was like, wow, that's light. But I had to think about the 17 before. So if I'm Deshaun and his group and the NFLPA, I'm ready to fight because I know the league wants another year. And you're not going to put a guy in his prime down for 2 full seasons. I think that's ludicrous. And don't get me wrong. 24 people said this guy did some crazy things. And a smart guy once told me, if it waters like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, don't let that thing tell you it's a chicken. It ain't no chicken. It's a duck. So where there's smoke, there's fire. There's something wrong there, and he deserves to be punished. But another year, 2 years, I don't know. But having girls, you may have a different opinion. But then being a fan, a lot of Cleveland fans, what pissed me off though was after the 6 games went down and people are still clamoring, fans, oh, can I have your autograph? Hey, and everything is just, we're such a forgiving society in sports. You could almost, and people have killed people and have come back and played. And it's rough. It's rough out there in the streets. I'm glad my name is Brown and not Watson. Coach?
Let me say this first. Having daughters, I'm really kind of sensitive to it. It's a lot of layers to it. I read what the former judge said, Sue Robinson, and I read what she said. What is kind of funny to me is the way the media portrays it. If you're not NFL bound or thinking that he needs more time, then there's something wrong with you, that you're not sensitive and that you're morally corrupt. What the lady said was, yes, there was evidence that something happened. Okay. When she said it wasn't violent, she's talking about he didn't force anybody, he didn't beat anybody, he didn't do anything like that. Now, that's not to take away what he did. Now, that's not to take away from that. That's not what I'm saying. And he does deserve some type of punishment. The NFL is mad. Now, the NFL is Roger Goodell. You have to understand, Roger Goodell is paid by the NFL owners. So he's going to do what the NFL owners tell him to do. He gets paid to be the shield that he talks about all the time and hides behind, and does what the owners tell him to do. The owners have done some pretty significant things and are supposed to be held to a higher standard.
Preach.
You got an owner on his yacht in the Caribbean somewhere, Daniel Snyder, not dealing with it. You had your Miami Dolphin owner caught, not Dolphin, but the Patriots owner caught red-handed. You got the stuff with Jerry Jones, but what they say is, and this is not to say what he did was wrong. I'm just talking about the punishment. All of that kind of goes under the bridge with them. Because they're billionaires. Just like they find the guy for, oh, look, we do find the owners. We find him $1 million. He's worth $10 billion. He's worth $10 billion. Do you know how many millions it takes to make $1 billion?
No.
It's 1 million. 1 million. What did that do to him? So, but they get away, but they, you got a quarterback that takes a knee and they put him out the league because people got upset about it and was mad about it, even though he told you that was not what his intent was. It did not matter. They put him out the league. The Trump said put him out the league. If I were the owners, I wouldn't have him. So they put him out the league. They do that to the players based on how much uproar there is. Yes, he was wrong. Now he used the therapist. That was his dating app. I mean, that's kind of obvious. That's what he was doing. 66 therapists. He called him the day of. He already saw him on Instagram and trying to hit him up. They didn't have to be massaged. They didn't have to be licensed. Now, at certain things, as you raise your children, you tell them, they say, look like a duck, quack like a duck, it's a duck. You don't go with everybody that approaches you to do everything. If it sounded kind of fishy, most of the time when you talk to somebody about a massage back in the dating days, if somebody gonna give you a massage, that was the next step. I'm just saying. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying. How many times okay, well, I'll give you a massage. Either you give her one or she gives you one. It has a certain amount of intimacy to it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you don't know him and he's stressing. He wants you to massage his groin area and this and that. And isn't that kind of a red flag? I'm just saying. I'm not saying that young ladies are wrong. I'm just saying that I try to talk to mine, be able to see the story for what it is and make a decision. Just because everybody asks you to go to a party don't mean you go to the party. If you don't know him, you don't go to the party. If this guy trying to get you to go to the party, telling you what a good time you have, you don't know him, don't go to the party. You walk up in the party and it's you and your girlfriend and it's 20 guys in there, y'all need not even to go in there. I'm not blaming them. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But the way they went at him for some of these things that the owners did, Snyder created a whole environment and got all types of stuff. They did not bother them. That's all I'm saying, is that the punishment that they did, and she says it. Now, they take what she says about, he was guilty. He something happened. Okay, they take that. But they don't take the fact that she said the NFL is now trying to impose tougher sanctions than they've ever had before, and they have not done anything to the owners. They just disregard that. They picked out what they wanted to pick out.
Oh, always.
Ms. What's your stand on some of that?
Well, my thing is like this. It seems like if he's on Instagram or wherever getting massages, women talk too much. Somebody is saying, girl, if you see Deshaun call you, he gonna ask you to do such and such and such and such, and he gonna pay you. It just all seemed it was about money. if he had have been guilty, and he didn't force anybody, two Texas courts did nothing to him. Now he in Texas. Now they're a little different in Texas, but they didn't find him guilty. I think it was all about money. And and look at Big Ben. Look at all, is Big Ben even allowed in the state of what is it? Can he even go to Nevada? Because off season he was but wow. They paid him off, hush hush, and never did anything to him. Never did anything to him. Now Deshaun wanted to get traded. All of a sudden now you got all these women coming out of the woodwork. Oh, he sexually assaulted me, or he forced me. Nobody forced anybody to do anything. I just think that girl A got X amount of dollars, then girl Z was mad because she didn't get any money. Then everybody started holding their hand out, wanting money. I just don't think that I just don't think that they should punish him like they are. And you gave him 6 games. Now you want to say, oh, we need to rethink this. The NFL want to rethink this. But if they weren't going to listen to what the judge said, why did you hire her?
Boom.
Why did
Bam.
you hire her? For show? Look
Yes.
at the whole Redskins organization. They made them change their name so they can sweep that under the rug. That's been all the craziness they've had documented. The judge didn't, nobody did anything to them. So I just think that they're using Deshaun Watson as a scapegoat. So
That's some interesting things that you said.
It really was. It
You
really was.
You do better speaking than you do being the host. You do a better job. But I keep going back to calling Kaepernick and the knee and throwing him out. Michael Vick with dogs. I mean, they nailed him for that. I mean, when it's something that disturbs the masses that they're uncomfortable with, then a punishment is very hard. And especially for this, when there have been no criminal charges. Civil court and criminal court is a different level of proof.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, even now they're saying, maybe they should have indicted him. Well, people, they took the young ladies they thought out of 20, however many it was, those are the ones they thought they had the best chance to do something with. And I'm not getting into if something happened or not. Because something happened, how significant it was and all that to those young ladies, it was obviously significant.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't minimize that. My issue is to be held to a higher standard. The owners have done much more. But the person who gives hands down the punishment is the person that the owners have hired. So it's never going to be anything done against them that's going to be an issue. It's going to be, well, my grandson comes in and he's in trouble and he said, Papa, only let me have 1 hamburger rather than 2. That's my punishment. Or just, I can't get 2 bowls of ice cream tonight. How about just 1? You can't, you pick his own punishment. And that's basically what the NFL owners are doing with Roger Goodell.
It just seems like only the quarterbacks, only the players of color get the severe punishment. Everybody else get tapped on the wrist or nope. Everything gets swept under the rug. And that's sad.
Well,
because if Deshaun had said, "Oh, I don't want to get traded," none of this would have come to light. Because didn't they say that the attorney that started this is best friends with the owner of the Texans?
Yes, that's what they say.
And again, 2 courts in Texas didn't bring any criminal charges.
Rick?
It's tough. It's tough because something happened. And you're right. You do not want to minimize the women's feelings, because what may be acceptable for me, coach may be like, oh, hell no. Or what may be acceptable to you, Miss B, I might be like, ooh, no, that's a little bit too much, Miss Sarasota. So we don't want to do that. But at the same, and I'm not going to even jump on the owners, because we all know they're full of shit. And that's just the way that is. When I first heard the 6 games, I was in shock. I was shocked. I was just shocked. I didn't think it was enough. And that was just firsthand reaction. And I think I texted you, coach, and was like, what, 6 or something like that. But
no, you said Browns fans are lucky.
Yeah. But now, thinking and having time to think about it, I was like, it's more than 6 games. It's 20. It'll be 23 games. So I don't think, no matter what the ruling would have been, it would have been people upset, because it wouldn't have been enough for some people and it would have been too much for others. But at the same time, Deshaun better walk that straight line, that straight and narrow from here on out, and don't put yourself in that situation, son.
Bingo.
You was a golden child coming out of Clemson.
Yeah.
Come on, stop. Come on, man.
Okay.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm with you there. You and that's what they talk to these guys about all the time. Not sometime, all the time. We're all connected in sports and know players and coaches, management, all of that. And that's one of the things you always talk about. We talked about it when I coached the girls and the boys. We talked to them about trying to stay out of situations. You have to be careful. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying they set him up, but Deshaun, now to show you how smart one of the judges was, I'm trying to remember during this long, drawn out case, there were some people that testified in behalf, some therapists, a bunch of them they never interviewed, who signed some affidavits in support of Deshaun and giving him massages. And the judge wanted to know how many of them had sex with him. So where she was going was, they having sex with him, and so they're good. And one of the announcers was on TV saying Deshaun's a freak. He's just a freak. He found something that worked for him to a certain degree. And he pursued that. And the pursuit of it has cost him, and it's not through costing him.
Yeah.
And as we see in the NFL, they want him to be suspended for an indefinite period of time and has to seek permission to come back and play, which they will put a lot of conditions on there for him to ask for permission and attrition and do this and do that. Because they're basically trying to, as somebody did send me a note, a text on it and say, oh, they get ready to put the screws to Deshaun now.
About the Josh Gordon.
Huh?
About the Josh Gordon.
Yeah, about the Josh Gordon. And but Josh, they gave him so many chances. He was suspended, permanently banned from the league 2 or 3 times, and they still give him another shot. And they were safe to give Josh a shot because they knew he was going to get high again anyway.
How can you be permanently banned but yet come back?
And come back.
Permanent, but no. I don't.
Multiple times.
Yeah, not just once.
Multiple times.
I tell
You
you,
know,
I tell you,
the
this.
NFL, and
Yeah.
I'm with Miss B. They set up this arbitration. It was part of the collective bargaining because he didn't want to be the one, the judge and the jury. And then they turned around. So she went through all of that for nothing. If I'm her, I'm good and pissed. I'm good and pissed. You didn't put yourself out there. You've done this, and the NFL, they'd even say thank you. We don't like that response. And so now they get to pick 3 people to make a recommendation to them. Did they pick it anyway? And they're already telling you what they want. So they can put the 3 people on there.
Yep.
It's just like you select a hiring committee for a position, and you put the committee on there because you want to hire so and so and so. So you want make sure that name get back to the president. So you put the people on the committee to that name back to the president.
That's what you can do when you're a billionaire.
And that's right. And pay $1 million fine.
They didn't break Deshaun's spirit, and
they real mad about that.
No, they didn't break his spirit. So
he hadn't apologized and he hadn't shown attrition. He's still saying that he didn't do anything. And they see what he deems as doing something and what they deem as doing something is obviously 2 different things.
I did not have sexual relations with
Stop it.
Miss Lewinsky. That's factual. That's historical.
It was not a relationship. It was not a relationship.
That's what Mr. Saxophonist did. Mr. Saxophone player did.
Rick, there you go.
Yes, indeed. Hey, look. Hey, before we go, hey, RIP to Bill Russell. I don't care what y'all say about Jordan, LeBron, whoever. The greatest. Count the rings. Cha-ching. And yes, he's a member of our fraternity, the greatest of all time. But we're not talking about that. We're just talking about his rings. And even though he was a Boston guy, Boston Celtic, Bill Russell, you are with me. RIP to you. Special RIP to Vince Scully, one of the best to ever call baseball games. Did it for 67 years. Good gosh almighty. Perfect storyteller. Amazing. RIP. And a special RIP to Nichelle Nichols, who was Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek. Really opened the gates for blacks on television shows. So, and yes, I'm a Trekkie. So, special RIP to Nichelle Nichols as well. Oh, and Coach, Paige Buckner. You heard about her today?
I did not.
Paige Buckner for UConn. Torn ACL in a pickup game. Out for the season.
She just came back from being hurt. And I like to watch her play.
Yep. Girl had some spunk.
I like to watch her play.
She had that in her. She had that dog in her. She could, yeah. So
yeah, she sure did. She sure had that dog in her.
So good luck. Get well, Paige. Get well.
Well, we should have a guest next week, Earl Kitchens.
Woo!
He wrote a book about black quarterbacks, and he actually has some awards that they give out to black quarterbacks, and has his own website and things. So we should have a special guest and still be on football since we are headed towards football, and we're kind of excited about talking to him.
Okay.
Kind of excited about talking to him. And we soon will have John Grant from MEAC SWAC Challenge Game and the Celebration Bowl. So we got some people coming up to be able to share as we create our content and keep Mick and Rick going and make it informative. Each show we want to give you something, tell you something that you didn't know before. The Deshaun Watson category, it's just like anybody who believed in Colin Kaepernick and spoke out. Okay, they wanted to make you a militant, and they always want to paint you a different way. I just think with Deshaun Watson, people got upset. My whole thing is the punishment has to be equitable across the board. You can't enforce rules and punishment against certain people, and other people don't have the same type of punishment. And as we've seen in society, that's been something that's gone on for hundreds of years. And that's my only complaint. Not what he did or didn't do. I wasn't there. I'm just saying that the punishment for what other people have done, they didn't do the same thing. They didn't do the same thing. They didn't get the same type of punishment.
I agree.
Agreed. Get the one out of DC out of there. Get him out. Then I
and
can
Jerry Jones and
Robert
right,
Kraft, and go ahead and get the one out of Miami too, Stephen Ross.
Right.
How can you be? Yeah, they say he did say it that but he wasn't. He didn't really mean it.
Right.
What the fuck?
Right.
Man, this is some bullshit. That's all right. Well, anyway. You gotta laugh because it's just so. I mean, it's so stupid. It's
It is.
Hey, we appreciate you, Miss B. You're getting better.
Yes, Miss B. Yes. Always good to see you, Miss B. Coach.
Good to see you too.
My man.
Stay up to date with the latest from INSiiGHTS. Visit our website at INSiiGHTS.com. 2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.
INSiiGHTS is the copyright of Mac4 Enterprises, a Florida corporation. This broadcast is produced under the exclusive ownership of Mac4 Enterprises. It is the intellectual property and trademark of Mac4 Enterprises. Comments of the host and other individual speakers on INSiiGHTS represent their independent thoughts and representation.
You already know.
I don't have to tell them because you did. I appreciate everybody. We'll be back next week in INSiiGHTS. We're back. We are here.
New day, same show.
Same
Here we
show.
go.